Welcome back as Big 12 Media Days continues. Matt Rhule is taking the podium next. His Baylor Bears went 7-6 last season after winning just one game in his first year. Here's more from head coach Matt Rhule.
We're now joined by Coach Matt Rhule from Baylor. Coach, welcome, and your thoughts about the upcoming season.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the entire Baylor football team, our athletic director, Mac Rhodes, it's an honor to be here. I want to thank everybody for coming and listening to us talk about our team. As always, I want to make sure I thank the leadership of the Big 12. What a great time it is to be here and be a part of this conference. Commissioner Bowlesby, Ed Stewart, all the people that I've had a chance to work with, everything is always first class, and I'm very appreciative. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about the upcoming football season. I think we were a team last year that was good at times, not always necessarily consistent, but showed some flashes and finished the season the right way. And we're very hopeful that we can become a consistently good team this year, a team that week in and week out, everyone knows what to expect. Really proud of the 5 young men that I brought here today. 4 of the 5 are already college graduates. Marcus Jones won the award at Baylor this year for the top engineering student, not top student athlete, but top engineering student. He's already accepted a Navy scholarship. Clay Johnston, all Big 12 caliber player, college graduate. Denzel Mims is finishing his degree right now. Jermichael Hasty graduated in 3 years. Sam Tecklenburg's a member of our graduate program. So I think they represent the 15 college graduates on our team, the 10 guys who are in graduate school. And as you hear me talk, I think the one thing that I hope you take away from it is I'm really proud of what our team has done in the offseason. Record-setting GPAs, 839 hours of community engagement. 4 guys just finished a mission trip in South Africa. And we're doing all that while our guys are taking over 33 different majors. So I'm proud of the work that our guys are doing in the classroom and in the community, and very hopeful that it'll carry over this season as we try to take a step from a 7-win team to hopefully a team that has a chance to be in contention for the Big 12 championship game in December.
Okay, questions for Coach. We got several questions. We'll start right up here in the front, and we'll move towards the back.
Hey, Coach. Andrew Miner with 24/7 Sports. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
Great. Last year, your defense gave up 39 explosive plays that led to touchdowns, and it actually accounted for 38% of the total yards on defense that you guys gave up for the year. How excited are you for this defense, this crop of kids that are returning, a lot of experience on it, and how are you positioning them to get better for a better defensive year this year?
Yeah, I mean, for us to take the next step as a team, we have to get better on defense, and that really starts with not giving up so many big plays. And also, we were last in the conference last year at taking the ball away. So we've got to become more of an impact defense, taking the ball away. And I think it starts with our players. You know, there's a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, and they were out there, probably some of them playing before they were ready, but now they're ready. You know, we've been together for 3 years. We know what to expect. We know the league. And whether it's James Lynch or Clay Johnston or Chris Miller or James Lockhart or Bravion Roy, those guys are battle tested. Now we have to go out and play at an elite level. I think we've tried to adapt as coaches. You know, we've kind of gone more to a 3-down structure as opposed to a 4-down, which is what we've always known, and hoping that we can get more speed on the field. But we're as fast a team as I've ever been around, and we just have to get that to translate onto the field come this fall.
We have a question on the aisle.
Matt, Bill Haston, Tulsa World. When you got to Baylor, the roster was a mess. Fans were clamoring for the return of Art Briles. So, like a couple of years later, what is your message in regard to the state of the program and the culture, for that matter, at Baylor?
I think the young people in our program are doing things as well as any team in college football. Like I said, you know, for us to, you know, we were second in the bowl games. Clemson only had more college graduates than we did. You know, to have 10 guys in graduate school, to have guys doing the right things in the community. I mean, we're not perfect, but I think that if you took a mirror, if you took a look into our program, you would just see a lot of people doing things the right way and striving to achieve at a high level. And you know, it hasn't been easy. You know, we've had, as you said, we had to sign a record amount of guys the first year. We've had to try to find every way to you know, take advantage of the rules that are there. We had to play a lot of guys before they were ready. But at the end of the day, you know, I think that the progress is showing up on the field. It's certainly showing up in the classroom and in the community. And I hope that that translates over to football, because for us to be a great team, we were not a very disciplined team last year. And that discipline that we're showing off the field has got to show up on the field. But we're making progress, and it's fun to come to a media day and be able to talk about the future and the team, and that's really, to me, the best thing about being at Baylor right now is we're able to look forward.
We're going to come over here to the left side and take a question, and we have 3 on the other side.
Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. Matt, in the spring you were talking about, even as impressive as a move from 1 win to 7 wins was, taking the next step would be even more difficult. What has to be in place, kind of piggybacking on what you've just been addressing, but what has to be in place for this team to take that next step in the conference?
I think, you can go from 1 win to 7 wins by just kind of eliminating, the bad stuff, the bad decisions on the football field, the egregious errors, all those things. I think for us to take the next step, a couple things have to happen. We have to become consistent. Like we were a team that got blown out last year against Oklahoma and came back and we were able to beat Kansas State. We got blown out at West Virginia, then we were able to come back and beat Oklahoma State. We were very reactionary. And great teams are great every single day, all the time. And coaches talk about that, but it's really hard to do. And so that's what's hard, is trying to get our guys to be consistent day in and day out. But I think they know that's where they have to get to. And then, to be quite honest, we have to be better up front. When we got there, alluding to the question about the roster, there were 6 offensive linemen on the roster when we showed up. 2 guys retired to get us down to 4, and we played freshmen, we played tight ends, we played a 279-pound freshman last year at left tackle the last 5 games, but he's 300 now, and so for us to be a team that's in contention, that's relevant in November, we're going to have to play much better than we have on the offensive and defensive lines. And I think we're ready for that. And I think our guys understand that that's the next step. Because we have a great quarterback. He just can't be running for his life all the time. We've got to make sure he's comfortable if we want to play at a high level.
Okay, we're going to the right side. We've got 3 questions over there, and then we'll move back to the left.
Sean J. Roger, Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Coach, when it comes to the pass rush, it's been a little inconsistent the last 2 years. And now you have James Lockhart coming in, you have some other guys coming in. Where do you feel the state of the pass rush is right now? And since you've arrived on campus schematically, are there things that you've adjusted to try to generate a little bit more of one?
Yeah, I think the thing about the Big 12, when you go back and look at it, is it's really not much of a drop-back passing league. A lot of teams rely on RPOs, but really play action and max protection. And so to me, the key to being able to be a dominant pass rush team in terms of sacks is you have to get the lead. And, one of the top statistics in football is first half scoring differential. The team that usually is winning at halftime wins. And so we've never kind of really been in control of a game. Even last year, the games that we won, it came down to the final minutes. Like, there was never a time where I was relaxing on the sidelines. I mean, it was, kind of all the way down to the end. And so we have to get control of some games. We have to get a lead. We have to stop the run, make teams one-dimensional so that we can turn it up. So it's really a function of all of that. You mentioned some great players, James Lynch, Bravion Roy, James Lockhart. Those guys are ready to play well, but it's going to take the whole team if we want our sack numbers to get up near 40. And 40 is where we have to be, in my mind, to be a great defense.
3/4 of the way back on the right side.
John Warner, Waco Tribune Hero. Matt, Charlie had a really good year last year, Charlie Brewer. How do you expect him to build off that coming into this year?
Yeah, I thought at the end of last year, Charlie really settled into playing quarterback and not feeling like he had to do everything himself. I put Charlie in some hard positions last year, making him rotate early in the year, and that wasn't easy on him, but I thought it really helped him develop where he wasn't worried anymore about anything else other than, when I get in, here's how I'm going to play. And once that light bulb went off for him, I thought he was a really good quarterback. And at the end of the year, when we were able to run the ball and protect him, I thought he was an excellent quarterback. And I like his focus right now. He was invited to, there's all these camps and things. He was invited to something, this month to go away for a week, and he turned it down because he wanted to stay on campus and throw with his receivers and worry about his class schedule and all that. So I think Charlie is a natural quarterback. The game comes easy to him. He's accurate. He loves to play, loves to compete. What I'm excited about is his commitment to learning the game at a higher level, understanding the run checks, the pass checks, the protections, making himself a pro quarterback as a junior. And I've seen great work from him, and that to me tells me that he's ready to go be a great player this year.
We have a question on the second row, right side.
Hi, Coach Graham McGalliard at RCFB. I saw a survey actually in Dave Campbell's that said you were the second most trusted coach by Texas high school coaches in the state of Texas, that is. So how have you built those relationships with Texas high school coaches in terms of recruiting?
Well, that's an honor that people would say that, and so I appreciate that. Anyone that voted for me. I think, from the day that I came here, I'm a guy that grew up in New York. I took the subway to work, school, what are we talking about? And I think the thing that I did, first of all, is I hired 3 Texas high school football coaches. And they are great friends of mine and great coaches. But I think it gave me an idea into, hey, this is how to operate within the state. And so what we try to do is if we offer someone a scholarship, we try to call the coach first. If we go to recruit, we try to recruit all the schools that we can get to, not just the ones with, big-time prospects. We try to build relationships because at the end of the day, the high school coaches in the state of Texas, they love 2 things. They love the game of football and they love working with young people, and that's what I love. And that's what Joey McGuire loves and Phil Snow loves. And so there's way more commonalities between us than that. So we've tried to go out and speak at every clinic we can go to. We have an open door policy. A high school coach in the state of Texas can walk into our offices on a Friday before we play University of Oklahoma, and they can sit there. We want people to be around. And I think the biggest thing is when we've made mistakes, and we've made mistakes in dealing with coaches, that I've picked up the phone and said, hey, I made a mistake there. That to me, if you can say, hey, I made a mistake, or hey, I did this wrong, then you have a chance to have real relationships. And so, but I appreciate people that said that. We're not perfect, but we're just trying to do a good job of communicating. And at the end of the day, one of my goals is to make sure that I'm doing my part to make the game of football in the state of Texas as strong as it can ever be. That's at the high school level, Division III, Division II, FCS, and FBS. And, hopefully we're all doing that together.
Question on the left side, 4th row.
Hey, man, Cedric Golden, Austin American-Statesman. You mentioned Connor Galvin at left tackle. Charlie was sacked 39 times last season, the most in the Big 12. And I know you and Sean Bell have done some reshuffling this spring. What's the depth like up front, and how many guys do you think it takes for an offensive line to be good from start to finish?
Yeah, and we've finished last in the conference in sacks allowed 2 years in a row. And part of that is because, there have been some games where we've been behind. And the one thing I never want my team to do is feel like, hey, we quit. We got down to Oklahoma last year, and there's a part of me that probably wanted to, run the ball and keep the score close. And so you had a moral victory, but we were going to keep playing. And so part of that's been situational, but part of that's been we just haven't been ready up front to play at the level that, we want to play at. And I think that we're at the point now where we have 7 to 8 guys that we think can play for us at a high level. And that to me is always the number. You'd like to have 3 tackles, 3 guards, and 2 centers. And if you have 8 guys, then you have a chance to be whole. And I think we're there. Sam Tecklenburg's here. He's 310 pounds now. He played his first year at 280-some as a converted tight end. Well, now he's 310, and he's ready to play. And so Connor Galvin's 300 pounds now. We have a bunch of guys that have put their time in, and hopefully we can go out there and get that number way down. And we're probably always going to have a few more sacks than we should because of the way Charlie plays. And when I was in the NFL, I did a study, and Aaron Rodgers always had a bunch of sacks, but it was because Aaron Rodgers was also going to get outside the pocket and scorch you. So he'd take a sack, but also make 3 explosive plays. That's who Charlie is. I tell Charlie to slide, and he slides right into the guy, right? I tell Charlie to run out of bounds, and he stops. Like, he's going to play that way, and that's what makes him beloved by his teammates.
We got a question all the way in the back, right in front of the cameras, Coach.
Steve Cook, Stickham Sports. Steve Cook, Stickham Sports. Coach, which players have made, you think, the biggest strides between the end of last season and now?
Wow, that's a great question. I'd say Connor Galvin because he's gotten up to 300 and some pounds. I would say Kalin Barnes. I read all the college football magazines, and I hear people talk about the fastest people. I mean, this is a kid that practiced a full scrimmage on a Saturday morning, took every rep, tackled people, went out, took his pads off, walked over to the track facility and ran 10-2. I mean, he's a special person. And so Kalin at corner, I think, has really developed to where he has a chance to maybe be a big-time player. But I think it's really just kind of our entire team and the way that they look. Guys like Rob Solin and Chidi Ogbonnaya, they were playing at 250 pounds. They're now 295, 300. I just think when we walk out on the field this year, we're going to look like a big-time, elite-looking football team. And I think that's really a credit to Jeremy Scott and our strength staff, nutrition staff, and all those people that work with our players day in and day out.
Question in the middle here on the left side.
Hey, Matt. Suzanne Halliburton with the Statesman. I was getting more on Charlie. He carried the ball 133 times last year. Do you remember, can you estimate how many times those were called runs and how many times were him just trying to make something happen? And would you like to keep those carries the same or cut those down?
I'd like to probably cut them down slightly, but, I'd never want to have Charlie not be Charlie. And right behind him is Gary Bohannon, who I can't wait for everybody to see Gary play. He's the same type of a player. And so a lot of those with Charlie, depending on what defenses we see some teams that are just three-man rush Charlie. And so if they cover and no one's there, he'll take off, and that's really a valuable part. We ran a lot of quarterback draw with him last year, and he had some explosive plays in that. We ran a lot of quarterback sneaks last year. We kind of made this commitment to we were going to be a great sneak team, and so he had a bunch of those. But at the end of the day, he probably had to run a few too many times in our protection game, and if we can cut those numbers back. But we always want Charlie to use his legs because that's really one of the things that makes him special. We're not a big, we don't call a lot of design quarterback runs other than a quarterback draw.
Question on the second row right up here at the front.
Michael Taglianti, the White Right Sun. Coach, your second year at Temple, you went 6-6. The third year, you went 10-4. Second year at Baylor, you went 7-6. How confident are you? What's your level of confidence in putting together a 9 or 10 win season and competing for the title this season?
Well, it's what I would like to do. That's the expectation for me, but it's way easier said than done. I think what happened to us at Temple that year is we went 6-6 and didn't go to a bowl game. And I had a senior player, Kenny Harper, got up and said, I hope you guys learn not to take things for granted. And so we had such a hungry football team because they didn't get the chance to go to a bowl game. I look at our team. I always judge our team based upon how they're working. And I'll say this. This is one of the hardest, most industrious groups I've ever been around. I mean, they work. And so I feel good about where we're heading, but I also know the road that's ahead of us. I know the teams that are here, they're working too. And so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we can take those steps. I'm putting that on myself. I expect myself to do the job that I'm hired to do, and that's to get us to be a bowl team every year and then have us be a team in November that's fighting to go play in the championship game. We weren't that team last year, and that's really the next step. A lot of things have to happen to make it happen, but we're going to fight like heck to make it happen.
Question over on the right-hand side about halfway back.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Coach, you talked about Marcus Jones, him being an engineer student. How have you seen him develop from a walk-on to a guy that can actually help you on the field?
Yeah, I mean, Marcus is a guy that should go play pro football. He's 6'1". He runs 4.38. He's got great hands. He's as reliable a person as I've ever been around. The only bad thing about coaching him is you can't ever say something wrong because he'll say, Coach, that's not what you said 2 weeks ago. I mean, he's an elite caliber student, an elite person. And I think the biggest thing for Marcus to become a great player is when he thinks of himself as a great player. My challenge to him has always been, don't think of yourself as a walk-on. Whether you walked on or not, that's how you got to college. That's what you were as a junior or senior in high school. You're 22 years old now. Who are you now? And he's, to me, an elite student. I mean, he won the award for the best engineering student. Then he took a 2-year scholarship with the United States Navy to conduct research. I mean, he wants to go work for Tesla someday, and I want him to do the same thing. I want him to go change the world, but I also want him to think of himself as a great football player. And he's a fun guy to be around. He's a great person, day in and day out, and he represents our program the right way. And he's not on social media, so I don't have to follow him. So everything about him is easy. I love coaching him day in and day out.
Okay, this is the final question for the coach. Back, about 5 rows back.
Matt, Joseph Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. Matt Campbell talked about the importance of multiplicity with offenses. Obviously, you lost a guy in Jalen Hurd last year who was very versatile. How important was he to your offense last year, and how do you go about replacing a guy like that?
Well, the first thing about Jalen was he was the hardest working player that I've ever been around in terms of practice. And so I think that he had an effect on our team that stands out till now. Like, you are what you repeatedly do. So if you're just doing what I ask you to do, then are you doing enough? And so that was one thing. But you're right. He was a guy that could play inside receiver. He could play outside receiver. He could go be our tailback. when he was in the game, you didn't know what personnel grouping we were in. But I think we have some guys that can do that as well. Tristan Ebner was dynamic in the bowl game. He's a former receiver. He never played running back until he got to Baylor, and we needed running backs. We asked him to move over. So he's a guy that gives us versatility. Josh Fleeks is one of our best young players, and he's a guy that was a high school running back and tailback. So we've done some of that with him. Gary Bohannon's a guy that is going to be a great quarterback that can also do some other things. And so that's fun when you, as a coach, you have guys who have not only the talent to do it, but you have to spend extra time working at those skills and learning the game. And so Jalen did that, but I think we have a lot of players who are willing to do that right now. And in an innovative league, if you just go out there and you're vanilla, you're going to get embarrassed by the coaches in this league. So we've tried to add some of those wrinkles in, and I think this year 3, we'll be able to really be versatile in the things that we're doing.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much for your answers, and good luck for the season.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
You've been listening to Baylor head coach Matt Rule. He said his team works very hard and is very industrious. What else stood out to you about Rule and what he had to say about this year's squad?
Well, he's very forthright. There's no doubt about it. He understands that there's some challenges ahead for them. He likes his quarterback. He definitely thinks that the quarterback, Charlie Brewer, settled in to be a good quarterback and a catalyst for their football team. They're going to have to find a way to run the football. That's what they need to do. The offensive line's got to come together and play better. They got to protect the quarterback. Gave up way too many sacks last year. So I think the Matt feels pretty good about where they're at right now, and they're ready to take that next step.
Okay, so he talked a little bit about his running backs, Tristan Ebner, who moved from wide receiver, of course, JaMychal Hasty, definitely one of those guys up there. Can they do well on this offense? Can they be the guys that Baylor needs them to be?
You know, it's interesting. I was listening to Coach Rule, and he threw a lot of names out, a lot of players out. So I think that he may be thinking that they may be utilizing many people in this capacity in the run game here for Baylor and really giving defenses something to think about when you put players on the field. That's always a good thing. When you have a JaMychal Hasty who has the ability to run and make breakaway plays, that's good for you. But what else do you bring to the table? Other guys have a chance to come in and make an impact and something different that defenses have to contend with. I think that's probably a pretty good ploy, and it sounds to me that Coach Rule has some ideas about other players with skills on his football team that we might see the Baylor use this season.
Well, vast improvement from year 1 to year 2. Can they improve in year 3? Well, hey, they have 3 guys that could possibly be the guy at running back or a running back by committee.
Well, at least history of running and knowledge and being in the game. You know, these aren't eye-popping numbers for any one player, but collectively that's a group effort. And is one going to emerge and be an elite player? I think it's still too early to be told.
All right, we started talking about offense. Now it's time to move over to the defense. We'll leave it to Sarah Merrifield. Sarah.
Thank you, Leslie. Clay, you're a senior now at Baylor. You've been through a lot since you've been with this team. Just in terms of adversity, do you feel like what you've seen and what you've been able to accomplish through all of that has made you a better player and a better teammate, and what you're able to face on the field in terms of challenges?
I think definitely it's helped us. I'll talk a little bit as a whole. I mean, our senior class is pretty strong suited. I mean, we've been through so much. We've had 3 head coaches. Coach Rule is here now, and everyone's bought in. So there's no more questioning things. So that's what I really appreciate about our class right now. We got chemistry. Everything's flowing, and I know we'll go through ups and downs throughout the season, but just seeing the progress we've made, and we just got to continue to take steps.
Now, in terms of Matt Rule, there's more consistency. You're used to his program now. Was there a point either last season or a few seasons before that you guys found a stride or found confidence in him as your head coach?
Well, like I was saying, I think definitely there were guys questioning. A couple seasons ago, it was like, why are we doing this? Like, we went 1-11. It's like, why would you keep doing all the hard work and coming in and doing all this stuff when you don't see the results? But we kind of had to just bury your head in the ground and just work. And so seeing that pay off, winning that bowl game 7-6, and taking that into the next season, I mean, that's huge for us. And like I said, the chemistry that we have going on, I have all the faith in the world that we'll come out and we'll have a chance for contending with the Big 12 and the title game.
And in terms of your linebacker position, it is not an easy one. And you're one of 3 that will really carry the workload this season. But in terms of the youth you have on this team, what are you seeing from them in terms of progress and talent? And are you starting to see the depth form a little bit in what you'd like to see this season?
Yeah, definitely. You got Blake Lynch. He's solidified at linebacker finally, which is good. I mean, he's a specimen of a guy, and I think he's going to have a good year just being in there from beginning to end. You got J. Will Terrell, seeing those guys, and I mean, they push me, and so we all push each other. I mean, we would go hang out at Coach Taraba's house. He's our linebacker coach, and we just hang out a ton, which is a blessing because he's just big into team and just having a good time together. But young guys, you got Solo, you got Compton. I mean, they're working hard. They still got to learn pieces of the defense, but they just got to continue to take steps. But those 4 guys, Blake Lynch, Jordan Terrell, me, I think that's a pretty potent group if we can continue to buy in and just work together.
Well, we're excited to see what your senior class is capable of doing and this team as a whole. So thank you so much for spending the time with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Leslie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Sarah. We appreciate it. Already laughing with wide receiver Denzel Mims up here, who is a fan of being out there on Saturdays, maybe not a fan of being on TV, but we're going to make you feel very comfortable here. Okay, tell us a little bit about this wide receiver core, because we know Jalen Hurd is gone, but of course you're out there. Chris Platt is finally healthy. What are you guys capable of this year?
Well, we capable of doing a lot of good things. We got a lot of good young people that's coming. That we got Tyquan Thornton, Josh Fleece. We got and a couple other guys, but we got a good core. You know what I'm saying? We tough, we competitive, and we're fast and physical. So that's gonna help us a lot. And it's just gonna fit right in without Jalen Hurd not being here.
Great. And Charlie Brewer back at the helm once again. How comfortable are you guys with him and knowing that he's the guy and you've had a lot of experience with him?
Oh, yeah. I'm very comfortable with Charlie Brewer because he a dog, he a savage, and he'll come compete every day. So I'm real comfortable with him because I know that he going to give his all day, every day, you know what I'm saying? Even if he's tired, he hurt, he going to come give his all. And so I like that.
I like that, too.
So what are some of the things about your game that you like to do? What would you like to stretch it out, go big? You're a big target out there for Charlie Brewer.
Oh, well, for me, I like to, take it easy, get the easy stuff first, get warm, get fit of the game, then I'm going to take it over top on you. And if you're not ready,
you're going to set him up, right?
Yeah. If you're not ready, that's up on you. So I'm going to be ready whenever. So that's a good thing.
I love it. You got to have confidence out there. Okay, so Baylor goes from winning 1 game to winning 7 last year. What are you guys capable of this year? Can you improve even more?
Oh, yeah, we're going to improve a lot more, but our goal this year is to win the Big 12. You know what I'm saying? I think that's every goal for every team, but our goal is to win the Big 12, and I feel very strong that we're going to win it.
What is it about Coach Rule that's allowed you guys to improve each season? What is it that you like about him? And he clearly gives you guys confidence.
Tough love, and he's honest. You know what I'm saying? He don't sugarcoat. He don't be around the bush. He always honest and hit it direct. So that's a good thing about him, and we love that.
I think that you're right on about Coach Rule, and he seems to emit that. And is there anything that you guys have kind of got a rallying cry or anything for this season, or anything special, or is just going to go out there and win 1 game at a time?
Oh, well, of course we're going to take it 1 game at a time, but of course our goal is to win the Big 12. But we're going to take it 1 game at a time and focus on Stephen F. Austin. You know, August 31st.
August 31. There
All
you
right.
go.
Got it circled.
Good luck to you,
Game
Denzel.
1.
Thank you.
Denzel, you were fabulous. Thank you very much. We appreciate you joining us. All right. That about wraps up our coverage of Baylor.